Next up, we have yours truly, the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Boston Bruins.
Are we supposed to
So,
clap there or something?
woo!
Great. Another
Okay,
first round Toronto matchup. Woo.
the Demons are back. So, this kind of unlikely scenario that happened in the last week. No one thought, I don't think, that Boston would lose two in a row against Washington and then Ottawa, but here it is.
Damn
But
right.
the Boston
Yeah.
Bruins, your
That's
first
fine.
line, Danton Heinen, Pavel Zacha, and David Pasternak. Line 2, Brad Marchand, Charlie Coyle, Jake DeBrusk. Line 3, James Van Riemsdyk, Morgan Geekie, Trent Frederick. And line 4, Jakob Locko, Jesper Bolkvist, and Jason Megna.
I can't believe Jason Magnus is still playing.
On defense, your first pairing, Matt Grzelcyk, Charlie McAvoy. Second pairing, Hampus Lindholm and Andrew Peak. And your third pairing is Parker Witherspoon and Kevin Shattenkirk. And your goalies are Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman.
On injuries, this doesn't count as an injury. Milan Lucic is is in the middle of a court case. That doesn't count.
Yes.
Matthew Poitras, he is out for the season. Derek Forbert, defenseman. He's on a conditioning loan, so he actually could be added to their defense, and that would probably take out Weatherspoon. Brendan Carlo is day to day, and he would definitely take out whoever else is on defense there.
Peak.
Yeah, so Brendan Carlo was just maintenance, so he's going to be playing. He's going to be in their top four. So Peak is gone, and likely Weatherspoon is gone as well. So that decor looks a lot better with Grzelcyk, McAvoy, Lindholm, Carlo, and Forbert Shattenkirk. That's a very good decor.
Very good.
And then Justin Brazeau, who I've never heard of. So he's week to week. Respect to him. Evan's heard of him. Oh, wow. He had 4 goals and 1 assist in 6 games before his injury. Nice.
Okay, and the Toronto lineup, I'm gonna go based off what I think it's gonna be on game one because they've made a couple of switches for maintenance and whatnot right now. So based on what I think is gonna be a game one lineup is what I'm giving right now. Okay, line 1, Tyler Bertuzzi, Austin Matthews, Max Domi. Line 2, John Tavares, William Nylander, and Matthew Nyes for now because McMahon's injured. Line 3, Nicholas Robertson, Pontus Holmberg, Noah Gregor. And line 4, Connor Dewar, David Kampf, Ryan Reeves. Also, Gregor or Robertson will be out, I think, come game 1 for William Nylander to shift down to the third line and Mitch Marner to be on the second line with Tavares and Nyes. That's what I'm thinking. Your defensive pairings are currently Morgan Riley and Ilya Lyubushkin, Mark Giordano and Timothy Liljegren and TJ Brody and one of Connor Timmins or Simon Benoit. I guess you could have Edmondson up there, but I don't think so.
Would you rather have bad or worse?
And then in goal, we've got Ilya Samsonov, most likely starting game 1 with Justin Woll. Joseph Woll, Justin Woll. Joseph Woll backing up.
And Matt Murray.
Apparently,
and Martin Jones.
Yes.
And Martin Jones. Man,
yes.
You could have like
goalies.
3 goalie injuries. That's great.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of Stanley Cup playoffs appearances with those guys. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of experience. Injuries. Calle Yarncroc is uncertain for game 1, but he could definitely draw in early in the series. John Klingberg, I forgot, was on the Leafs. He's off. He's out for the season. And then Domi and McMahon, you've already talked about, and Matt Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always forget about him, and he just always keeps coming back in the conversation at this time because there's always uncertainty with the Leafs goaltending. All right, Evan, you want to start with your favorite team here, the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
So, I think this will be a very fun series. It'll be fun to watch because of all the history between these teams, both the original 6 teams. I do actually like that both teams have big star, sexy names, sort of, on either side, as well as like I'm not gonna say weaknesses, but I don't know. Like I think Toronto's top end forwards are better because they have more of them, but I think
Yeah.
Boston probably has better depth on forward. I think Boston has a better decor, better goalie duo, but that's probably helped by their decor. Um,
I don't think the decor and goaltending is even close, if I'm being honest.
but I do think that Boston isn't as good, even though they lost in the first round last year, as they have been in past years. They're going to be relying on people like Marchand and Pasternak more than in past playoff runs as well. So, yes, defense wins championships, but let's just hope that Boston can keep it up because I prefer one team over the other, yes. But I do genuinely think this is going to be a very close series, and I don't know which way it's going to go, to be honest. Like, I do think maybe Toronto, they broke that little seal. They got into the second round. Maybe they just keep pushing. You never know.
I think this comes down to two very major things. Like, I think we can expect Boston's defense and goaltending to perform. And in history wise, Marchand and Pasternak are going to perform, but the rest of the forward core is just isn't that good. Where Toronto is like, we haven't seen the superstars be superstars in the playoffs, and I think that's really what it's going to come down to. We're going to need a point and a half, 2 point to 2 point per game performance out of at least two of the four forwards, or they're not winning the series. The goaltending isn't good enough. The defense isn't good enough. You're going to need your superstars to play at the McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, Makar playoff level if they want to beat Boston, let alone win the cup. That's the only way that they can make it far in the playoffs is at the back on the backs of those forwards. And Samsonov and Jones, Wall, I don't really care who's in that. They could be average, amazing, whatever, but it's going to take extremely amazing performances out of Matthews, Marner, and Nylander. I'm not even counting Tavares in this in order for them to make it past Boston.
All right. The Leafs fans' turn. Um, I love this series. Because I think as a Leafs fan, you have to want this series. Because there's um too much history here, and no route to any success in the playoffs would feel the same without going through Boston first. And they're the ones, there are demons that we haven't figured out yet. They have us every time. Yet every time we've played them, the series have been very close. And I would argue that a couple of times probably the teams have been not as close on paper before as well. So I think it's gonna be a close series. I think Leafs players should want this series. I think Leafs players should be really pumped for this series if I was them. Boston has not only won, but they've like kind of embarrassed Toronto. I know like every game has gone to 7 games. Every series that they've had in the last 10 years has gone to 7 games, all 3 series. But each series has kind of ended with Boston just destroying game 7. And I think this is going to go probably all the way again. And it's going to need a lot of performances again, like from Austin Matthews, from Mitch Marner, from William Nylander. These guys are going to have to be insane. But yeah, I don't think Boston's forward core is that scary. They don't have a Patrice Bergeron this year. They don't have a David Krejci this year. Yeah, they've got Pasternak. Charlie Coyle's had a great season. Yeah, they have Marchand still. Yeah, they're going to put up points. They're going to lead the team. They're going to do their thing. And Allmark/Swayman are going to be insane in net. But I'm not that scared of the forward core. I'm more scared of the defense and the goalies.
Which is definitely less valuable in the playoffs, right?
Yes, precisely. No, because the defense and the goalies is where the Leafs are very outmatched in this series. I think we win in forwards.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think we're very we're ahead in forwards. Like if we're here in forwards and Boston's here in forwards, like we win with forwards, but like Boston's here with defense and Leafs are like nowhere. And then Boston's here with goalies and Leafs are like nowhere. So
But that,
that's where
okay,
that's where I'm worried. So we'll see how it goes.
But that's where I'm saying that's why you need a crazy performance out of Matthews, Marner, and Nylander.
Yeah,
Because this is purely just offense versus defense.
yeah,
Boston's forward core is not good. Outside of
yeah.
Pasternak, Marchand, it's going to take a lot of performances on their end from a lot of random players for them to make it far or past Toronto. But this is essentially, are you going to pick one Toronto's superstars to play exactly how they do in the regular season, or will they falter in the playoffs like they have for the past 7 years?
Yeah. The other thing is, I know these stats aren't really always worth of note when playoffs start, but the Bruins did sweep the season series. They went 4-0. So it's not looking good in that perspective, but you know what I mean. It's
Yeah,
those
I don't
those
care.
stats can,
The Caps shut out Boston twice,
yeah.
so I could care less about season series.
But yeah, Evan, what's your prediction?
Hmm. Do I do it?
It's your own death wish at the end of the day. We did it last year.
I know.
Evan did
But
it last year, no?
I
I
did it
did.
too.
No, you didn't.
Yeah?
Oh, you did.
Yeah, you hate the Leafs.
Yeah,
I'm
you
a
went
I'm a
Tampa.
I'm a big Leafs guy.
I think you went Tampa in 6 last year, is what you said.
Let's see what I did, bro. Hold on.
I am going to go for Leafs in 7
Ooh.
because not that I genuinely think or want this is going to happen, but that's just the vibe I'm getting. Like it's got to happen eventually, right?
Yeah.
So
I picked the Leafs
Oh,
last
you
year.
did.
I
Yeah.
disagree.
Uh, with that being said, I'm going Bruins in 6. I I'd love for honestly, I'd actually love for the superstar Leafs forwards to prove me wrong, but they haven't done anything for me to do so. Like for me to think that. Because if they just go, if we get another 7 points in 7 games, Austin Matthews performance, they're not winning the series. They're just not because the Bruins will score enough, and their defense is and goaltending is a million times better. The way they win this series, if we get like a 13 point, 15 point Nylander,
15. Settle down.
but we've seen that from McDavid, McKinnon, Makar. We've seen that from all those players, and that's what Matthews and Nylander are compared to. But that's why people are always like, "Well, look at the playoffs. This is the time for them to prove it. Can they have like a 2 point per game performance in the playoffs?" I say no, and that's why I'm picking Bruins in
I think
6.
they could get away with like an 8 or 9, but they're scoring on their own lines separately. So they're each providing offense each game instead of when they're together on the power play or something.
I mean, for Matthews too, it's more so goals, right? If he gets 7 goals in 7 games, I think that also plays. But he also hasn't done that. So for me, essentially, if Matthews and Nylander perform the way that they do in the regular season, I'll give it to Leafs. But we just haven't seen that, so therefore, I am not quite to make that assumption, and I'm gonna say Bruins in 6.
Okay. I'm a history guy, so I don't think it's gonna go less than 7. Because Boston and Toronto always goes to 7. So Boston in 6 or Toronto in 6 doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna go Toronto in 7.